Jones family, arriving at the beach for the summer, greet their old friends, the Browns.
And this is Linda. What a lovely baby she is. She's got her mummy's brown eyes, hasn't she?
She is a wonderful baby, but she just doesn't know what this is all about, do you?
The Browns and the Joneses are interested in each other's children. They've watched them play together each summer since they were born. They've noticed the differences each year as the children grow through different stages.
Well, well, Sandy Brown. My, how you've grown.
The children are glad to see each other, too. They don't know it, but the way they play together during these years is important to their future happiness. Old friendships are renewed. Pat hasn't seen Bordy for a whole year, but that doesn't make any difference. You just pick up where you left off. Oh boy, bare feet. And new friendships are made. It doesn't matter whether they've met before. The important thing is, what is she doing? Now the Browns and the Jones children and their friends are perfectly normal children. Let's see how they feel about other people as they grow up. Little Sandy, who is 1½, likes to be near people, but he plays happily by himself for hours, just enjoying his own power of moving things around, experimenting. He is interested in other babies, but he doesn't know how to say, "How do you do?" in a grown-up way. This is how he establishes contact. It's not dislike of the victim, it's another experiment.
Sandy, come here.
He is beginning to assert his individuality. Psychologists call it negativism. Watch it, Mrs. Brown. Getting angry just makes the situation worse, because then everybody's angry. Insistence on obedience at this age is a sure way to develop a future negative behavior.
I'd rather have this age. They can't get away from you.
That's the age, all right. You put them down and they stay there.
And they can't talk either. I get so tired of hearing, "Mommy, get me this. Mommy, I want that." You don't talk like that, do you? Oh, she's at the shy age, isn't she?
Don't be shy, Linda. Let Frances see you smile.
Yes, Linda likes people, especially if she knows that Mommy is right with her. It's fun to be able to do just what the big people do. 2 is an age of parallel play. They like to be near other children, but they don't really play with them. Susie has discovered that she can do all kinds of things by herself, and she is completely occupied. Jay is very busy, too. If there is any exchange, it's likely to be pretty primitive. By about 3, there is a better understanding of how to play together, especially if there are enough toys to go around. Roddy Jones, who is 3, has mastered enough speech so that he can play with other children without grabbing and pushing. At this age, sex, religion, and social status are unimportant. Kids are fun, and it doesn't matter how much money their parents have or what color their skin is. Make-believe play becomes increasingly important. 3 or 4-year-olds go beyond just pretending to be other people or animals. They begin to use anything they find around to create imaginary situations, such as boats made of cardboard boxes. Three is a delightful age. But nevertheless, 3 is the peak age for quarreling. There's a scrap every few minutes, and they're not fooling. But it usually only lasts about 30 seconds. The preschooler doesn't hold a grudge.
Lunchtime. Come along, Roddy.
No! Playing!
Play is important at this age. Routine matters like eating and sleeping can always wait.
Roddy. Roddy, lunch is ready. Come along.
But at about 3, he begins to conform to other people's wishes. Mrs. Jones is thankful that Roddy is past the no-no stage when he refused to do everything. But her thankfulness may be short-lived.
All right, that's enough. Graydon. Graydon, stop that. Graydon, don't splash Mummy.
You see what I mean?
You won't enjoy it very much down here. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with Graydon. He's simply terrible. Won't do a thing I tell him to.
I had the same trouble with Pat at that age. Don't you remember 2 years ago? He was the worst child on the beach.
Norm says I'm too easy on him. I spank him often enough, but nothing seems to have any effect.
Pat just seemed to get over it. He's not too bad now. It seems to me that most 4-year-olds are impossible.
That's what a great many parents of 4-year-olds think. The 4 is active, to say the least. His play makes sense to him, but to adults nearby, it may seem unreasonable and annoying. He has more muscular control, and he loves to show it off. In fact, showing off is often one of his favorite sports. The 4 is usually a truly social being. There is still a great deal of play between the sexes, but tradition has begun to bear down, and girls begin to be girls. By 5, they are even better organized, and they like to play with others of their own level of ability. Their play becomes more sensible to adults. The unreasoning aggression of the earlier years fades into the dawning of the competitive spirit. Leadership begins to show. Size, age in relation to the group, and intelligence all count. The leader must win the confidence of his friends and then retain his position by starting new games and providing pleasant experiences for the gang. A child who has not played with children of his own age may have difficulty in making adjustments that the others have made earlier. Because he doesn't know how to give and take, he may be the butt of teasing. Or if he's bigger, he may try to assert himself by bullying the smaller children. It's better if he learns to play with kids when he's little. Pat Jones is 6 now, and he belongs to a gang. Family and immediate neighbors are not as important as they were. The gang dominates what he wears and even how he wears it. It influences what he thinks and the way he speaks. About this age, most parents think that their child has fallen under the evil influence of a neighbor's child, and the neighbor very likely thinks the same thing. But while Pat has achieved his place in the group, Mother is still very important. He is at the push-pull age, when he wants to move out into the wider world, but yet he feels the tug of home. Now Mrs. Jones has a chance to help him feel that he can be a proper member of the gang, and yet not let down the standards of the Jones family. Gangs develop among both sexes, but at this age, the gang has not yet become formal. There is much dissension within the ranks. Accusations of cheating, tattling, whispering. Enemies one moment can be bosom friends the next. During these years, the thing we call popularity becomes well established. It depends on many things. Appearance is important, but friendliness, enthusiasm, and adaptability count for a great deal. Usually it is related to the amount of outgoing energy that the child expends. The popular child is not necessarily the prettiest nor the best, but she is outstanding in some way. Among children, hidden virtues remain hidden, although the quiet child may really be happier than the favorite. At the opposite pole is the child who has no friends. Perhaps she is different from the crowd, too intelligent or too dull. Or she may be insecure because of overprotective parents or because of an unfortunate experience with people. Again, there's the avid reader who gets more excitement from books than from social contacts. And there's the child who is so busy with his own interests that he hasn't time for other children. There are so many things to do, why bother with other people?
Wendy, would you look after Pat if I let him go to the pier to swim?
I certainly won't. If he can't look after himself, he doesn't need to go. I'm going over to Nancy's.
What do you do with a child like that? You won't believe it, but she's always had a very nice disposition.
I know exactly how you feel. Jane is just as bad, always making scenes and criticizing the rest of the family. Sometimes I think the older they get, the worse they are.
Patience, mothers of 9-year-olds. They're reaching the princess stage. It's true that their most charming manners and their demonstrations of affection are usually saved for outside of home. If they're in the mood, they can be angelic and helpful. But often their family life is full of conflicts. Mothers must be very understanding to let them have their heads and yet give them the guidance that they need. But there is comfort in the knowledge that they will soon reach the leveling off period that usually comes with adolescence. The child in her teens can enjoy the family more and can enter into a group of friends with less intense quarreling or taking sides. Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Brown, like most mothers, watch with love and anxiety while their children grow up. They know that one of the hardest tasks of this growing up is to make the social adjustments that are necessary for happy living in a world of complicated human relationships. Linda is a self-centered little person, interested only in her own feelings. In a few short years, she will stand on the threshold of adolescence. Will she be able to face the confusing inner urges and the outward pressures of society? With the understanding help of her parents, she will. If, like Roddy, she finds a happy relationship with them based on mutual respect for each other's wishes. If, like Pat, she accepts the friendship of her contemporaries and contributes her share to it. And if she does all this without submerging her own individuality, she'll reach the trying teens with a good prospect of happiness ahead.